Today we're talking about a brand new Samsung Galaxy S27 Pro battery leak that's already stirring up a big question. If the Galaxy S27 Pro is real and if these specs are accurate, where does that leave the Galaxy S27 Ultra in Samsung's lineup? Because on paper, Samsung's Ultra models are supposed to be the no-compromise kings, biggest screen, biggest battery, best cameras, and the top-tier performance profile. But this latest Galaxy S27 Pro leak hints at something different, a smaller, more practical phone that may deliver battery life and camera versatility that's uncomfortably close to what the Ultra is expected to offer. Let's start with the headline detail from the leak. The Galaxy S27 Pro is rumored to pack a 5000 mAh battery. At first, that number doesn't sound shocking. Plenty of flagship phones have 5000 mAh batteries. Samsung itself has used 5000 mAh in multiple Ultra-adjacent devices for years. But the context is what makes this interesting, because the Galaxy S27 Pro is also rumored to come with a noticeably smaller display. Earlier whispers pointed to a 6.47-inch screen, and now the newer leak rounds it up to 6.5 inches. Either way, that would put the Galaxy S27 Pro well below the Galaxy S27 Ultra in screen size, and that matters because battery life isn't just about capacity. It's about what you're powering. A 5000 mAh battery in a phone with a smaller display can go a lot farther than you'd expect, especially if Samsung tunes the software and performance modes for efficiency. A smaller panel generally consumes less power in daily use, scrolling social media, watching videos, browsing the web, messaging, and even gaming at moderate settings. Now compare that to the Galaxy S27 Ultra, which has been rumored to carry a slightly larger battery somewhere in the 5200 mAh to 5500 mAh range. That's bigger, sure, but the Ultra also tends to have a bigger, brighter display, and it often pushes higher sustained performance. So even with more battery capacity, the real-world endurance gap might not be as wide as the raw numbers suggest. In fact, depending on how Samsung sets thermal limits and performance profiles, the Galaxy S27 Pro could match the Galaxy S27 Ultra in battery life, or in certain situations, possibly even beat it. And here's another key detail that makes this leak feel even more disruptive. The Galaxy S27 Pro is rumored to use the same Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro chipset as the Galaxy S27 Ultra. If that ends up being true, it means the Pro and Ultra models would share similar efficiency improvements at the processor level. Same class of silicon, same potential gains in power management, and theoretically similar performance. Headroom just packaged in a smaller phone. So when you combine a flagship-level Snapdragon chip with a smaller 6.5-inch-ish display and a 5000 mAh battery, you start to see why people are questioning Samsung's Galaxy S27 Ultra positioning. Because the Ultra name has to mean something. And if the Galaxy S27 Pro is delivering near-Ultra endurance and near-Ultra performance, the Ultra needs a much clearer advantage to justify its bigger size and higher price. But the real twist might not even be the battery. The camera rumors are where this gets genuinely exciting. According to the leaks, Samsung could bring the same main and ultra-wide camera sensors that are expected for the Galaxy S27 Ultra to the Galaxy S27 Pro as well. Let that sink in. If the Pro model gets the same primary camera hardware and the same ultra-wide, you're looking at potentially identical core photo quality between the two phones, at least in the most common shooting scenarios: everyday photos, landscapes, food shots, indoor lighting, and general point-and-shoot moments. Then there's the telephoto situation, which may be the most interesting part of the entire Galaxy S27 Pro leak. The Galaxy S27 Pro is rumored to include a 50MP 3.5x ALAP telephoto camera. If Samsung actually does this, it could be a very smart, very practical zoom choice. A dedicated mid-range telephoto around 3x to 4x is the zoom range people use the most for portraits, street photos, pets, kids, and candid shots. It's the natural zoom that feels like what your eyes want when you're framing a subject a bit farther away. Now compare that to what's rumored for the Galaxy S27 Ultra. Reports suggest Samsung may retire its traditional 3x10MP telephoto lens and instead lean more heavily on sensor cropping from the main 200MP camera, potentially up to 5x zoom. In theory, Cropping into a huge 200MP sensor can still produce great results, especially in good lighting. And Samsung has already shown it can do impressive computational photography. But there's a reason dedicated telephoto cameras exist. They capture real optical detail at that focal length. And they often perform more consistently across different lighting situations, especially when you don't want the phone to guess too much with processing. So if the Galaxy S27 Ultra shifts toward a main sensor crop, does the heavy lifting approach for mid-range zoom, while the Galaxy S27 Pro gets a dedicated 3.5x 50MP telephoto. The Pro could actually end up being the better everyday zoom camera. That's wild, because historically the Ultra is supposed to be the one with the more versatile zoom system. Now, to be fair, Samsung could still position the Galaxy S27 Ultra as the ultimate camera flagship by giving it stronger long-range zoom, better image processing pipelines, improved stabilization, more advanced portrait modes, or exclusive video features. Samsung might also keep the Ultra as the device with the biggest display, the most premium materials, and the most maxed-out feature set, but based on these Galaxy S27 Pro leaks so far, the Pro model is shaping up to be the phone that a lot of people actually want, a flagship that's easier to hold, easier to carry, potentially more comfortable for one-handed use, and still powerful enough to feel like a true top-tier Samsung. And if the Galaxy S27 Pro really lands with a 5000 mAh battery, a roughly 6.5-inch display, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro, and a camera setup that includes a 50MP 3.5x telephoto, Samsung may have a new sweet spot flagship on its hands, one that puts pressure on the Ultra to prove why it exists, because for many buyers, the question won't be which one is the absolute best on a spec sheet. The question will be which one is the best to live with every day. And right now, the Galaxy S27 Pro is starting to look like it could be that phone. Of course, all of this is still based on leaks and rumors. Specifications can change, regional variants can differ, and Samsung might adjust the final hardware before launch. But if you've been waiting for a Samsung flagship that feels premium without being oversized and you still want a big battery, top Snapdragon performance, and serious cameras, the Galaxy S27 Pro is officially one to watch. Now I want to hear from you. If the Galaxy S27 Pro comes with a 5000 mAh battery and a dedicated 3.5x telephoto, would you pick it over the Galaxy S27 Ultra? Or do you still want the biggest screen and the most Ultra features no matter what?